Hello, my name is Emily, and welcome to the devlog for this little unnamed detective point and click game that we're making. The premise of the game is that you're like the postman in this little English village somewhere, and you get a bunch of letters that don't have anyone's name on them, so you don't know who to give them to. Instead, they have these sort of mysterious, like coded messages on the front, and you have to figure out who you're supposed to deliver the messages to through like a little investigation around. And if you give them to the wrong person, it could have like unintended bad consequences and things like this. So we're a team of two. We're making the game without an engine, so we're just using C++ and the macOS API at the minute. Matheus has been doing all the engine type stuff like rendering things, rendering text, audio, input, and things like that. And I've been using that stuff to do the basic gameplay. So yeah, that's right at the minute. And this art is like placeholder stuff, so hopefully it won't look like this in the end. But yeah, I'll just have a go at showing you what we've got for the basic gameplay. So this is an example of one of the scenes where you can go into someone's house in the village and talk to them, or find out different things from their room and things like that. And how you do that is there's things in the room that you can interact with, and when you hover over them, the cursor changes a minute, and it also shows a little description, and you can add these things to your little inventory of clues here at the bottom. So for example, if you wanted to add this leafy plant, you can add things like that. There's a little bug that you might have seen there when you do the first click. It actually doesn't add, so I need to figure that out. But yeah, so you can add things to your inventory, and you can also make things in the scene interact with each other to try and get information from that. So for example, you can put things onto the character. Oh yeah, there's also a sound element to that one I forgot about. So yeah, we've added an audio element to that. And she will say things about the thing that you dropped on her. We also have animated interactions. We've only got one example of that at the minute, of this cat interacting with the plant, and this animation happens when you do that. So yeah, you gather all your clues, and then at some point there'll be a little icon where you can open up the map and go to all the different houses in the village. And also we've got this envelopes icon, which I just started working on yesterday, and you can click on this and see your different envelopes. At the minute they don't do anything, but eventually you should be able to click on one. It will open up, covering all of this top part of the screen. You'll still be able to see your inventory, and then you'll be able to drag your clues into the envelope and match them up with different things. So yeah, that's it at the minute. So this is a little list of things that I had at the start of the day that I wanted to work on. I haven't got all of it done today, but I have done a little bit of it, so I'll go into the code and just talk about what I did today. Okay, so this is our code, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about what I was working on today. So in our game, we don't have entities at the minute, which is maybe something we should do. Everything is just a sprite, which makes things a little bit confusing. And so we have just regular sprite here, and we also have interactable sprites when there's like an interaction you can do related to this sprite. But in the base sprite, we have a lot of information that probably shouldn't be in there, so my task at the minute is cleaning up a bit of that. Earlier today, there was something in here, a bool called inventory, and we were using that for quite a few places. So today I was trying to take that out and rework the system with the inventory a little bit. So now something I've added to the inventory is this array of slot positions. So how things work now are you have your icon sprites in the inventory and your slot positions, and when you make the inventory, which we only make one at the minute anyway, but we only make one, and when you make it, all this calculation is just to calculate the slot width and height, and also these slot positions. And initially the icon sprites array is empty when you start the game. Then when you want to add things to the inventory, for example, let's see if we've got one here. Now, add icon to inventory. So here it's when you have, I think just clicked it and released on a sprite. So you want to add it into the inventory. You call this add icon to inventory, and it will just find an empty space in the icon sprite array, put your icon in there, and then when it comes to drawing the icon sprites, we have this render icons in inventory function, and that is just going to go through the icon sprite slots. If there is an icon sprite, it then just checks the corresponding slot in the slot positions array and draws that icon sprite at that position. Whereas before, what we were doing was more along the lines of whenever we did anything with the icon sprite, we would update its position. And we would also have this bool for when it was in the inventory or not. And there was like a lot of different calls sort of updating its position based on different scenarios and then checking whether it was in the inventory. So now it works more like we just add these things to the inventory and only render the icon sprites that are in the inventory, and we don't need to, and we know where to render them just by checking the corresponding slot in the positions array. So we don't need to do any more of the updating of positions, and we don't need to check if it's in the inventory at any point. We just simply render whatever is in the inventory. So that's cleaned that up a bit, and it also means that for icon sprites at least, we don't need them to have a position, or we don't need them to have a position actually. And hopefully I can clear that up in some other places so that eventually for all the base sprites we actually don't have a position. So yeah, that's what I was looking at today.